So the New York Knicks have a lot of options on what they're going to do in the 2020 NBA free agency. So they have a lot of routes on where they can go in the 2020 NBA free agency. So what side can they go? Can they go to the win now mode, or they're going to keep developing their young guys and keep playing them a lot of minutes like Tibbs kind of like to do before on his previous teams? So I think doing that on the Knicks might be a possibility for next season, but that's only if the Knicks do not get a point guard like Chris Paul and trade for him. But I think they're likely to do one of those type of trades, those salary dump type of trades for the other teams, and I think the Knicks are going to be doing one of them in the 2020 NBA offseason. That's just my prediction. And if they trade for an all-star caliber player, then we're talking about a whole different story with this video. But this video is mainly on the second option, that they just develop their young guys, and that's the route they go this season, this next season, the 2020-2021 NBA season. And then after that, it's already a different story, because they got the 2021 NBA free agency class, which got a lot of good options there. So I think they're going to be really competitive in the 2021 free agency class. So this video is mainly constructed that if they do not trade for an all-star point guard, which is also a possibility for them, since if they can draft like a Carmelo Jr. or a LaMelo Ball or someone like that, they're going to still develop their young guys and play them big minutes with LaMelo, or possibly LaMelo, Kira Lewis, whoever they draft with their 8th pick, possibly, if they do not trade it down or up. So basically, if they do so, I'll be showing you guys top 5 players that the New York Knicks should avoid in the 2020 NBA free agency. But before I get into the video, make sure to subscribe if you're new, because it definitely helps out the channel and helps out the channel grow and get out to more people, and it just shows that you're very supportive to the channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell not to miss a single upcoming video. So now let's get into player number 1. So player number 1 is Montrezl Harrell, and the reason that the Knicks should not pursue him in the 2020 NBA free agency is because mainly the fit is the problem, since he has a lack of shooting, and that's a big lack of shooting. That's a big problem for the New York Knicks. And the reasoning is that it's going to clog the paint with Montrezl Harrell, Mitchell Robinson, for now also Julius Randle. So it's just going to be too much for the Knicks to handle inside the paint, and no shooting at all. We do not need that. We need the opposite. We need floor spacing, and we just need more floor spacing and consistent elite scorers from 3. And Harrell does not fit that at all, because he has a big lack of shooting, and that's going to disrupt everything from the Knicks. And he's most likely going to ask for a lot of money, so there's just no point. This is a 0% chance that is going to happen, and he is an unrestricted free agent, but the Knicks should definitely not go for him, because that's just going to be a fail for the Knicks offense. So would you want Montrezl Harrell to be on the New York Knicks? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now let's hop into the second player that the Knicks should avoid in the 2020 NBA free agency. Player number 2 that the Knicks should avoid is Marcus Morris. So with the Clippers losing in the second round of the 2020 NBA playoffs in the bubble, 2020 free agent Marcus Morris might want to come back to New York, because before he got traded to the Los Angeles Clippers, he was playing on the New York Knicks, and that half season that he was playing on the New York Knicks, he had his best season, averaging 20 points per game and about 44% from the 3-point range. But while his individual numbers were great, the team success of the New York Knicks was definitely not. Since he played at an isolation-heavy offense, it slowed down the game and took opportunities away from younger players. So with that being said, I think that the Knicks should avoid him in the 2020 NBA free agency. So the third player that the Knicks should avoid is Derrick Jones Jr. So don't get me wrong, his versatility and athleticism is just absolutely insane. But at this point for the New York Knicks, floor spacing is much more important than any other aspect of the game. And with that being said, Derrick Jones Jr. only shot 28% from 3 this past season. So he's clearly not a good shooter, and another struggle is that he heavily struggles to create his own shot, and he's mostly relying on other teammates to set him up. So that is clearly the same reason that the Knicks should not select a player from free agency that just does not space the floor well and cannot create his own shot, specifically in this case with Derrick Jones Jr. So this is just a no-brainer that the Knicks should just decline looking at him and just let him stay with the Miami Heat He's been fine there. I mean, he's not a crucial part of the team, but he's been fine being a backup piece to the team. So now let's hop into player number 4. So the fourth player that the Knicks should avoid in the NBA free agency is DeMar DeRozan. So this is a star player, but another player that cannot space the floor well in terms of three-point shooting. He's a good mid-range shooter, but three-point shooting, he's just not it, as he averaged a whopping 25% from the three-point range last season in the 2019-2020 NBA season. So another star player that cannot space the floor is out of the limits for the New York Knicks to even consider. And with that being said, DeMar DeRozan will still ask for a big price, and the Knicks should just not say yes to this at all, and should just not even look at this option. Although there were previous rumors that the Knicks were apparently interested in DeMar DeRozan, but I hope this is not real, and I don't think it is real because the recent rumors have not included DeRozan in any conversations with the New York Knicks. So I think they are smart enough to not even think about that option anymore. And just to clarify, I am not hating on DeMar DeRozan. That man is a great player. He's a great star player. He's just not the right fit on the New York Knicks. He fits on other championship type of contending teams like the Milwaukee Bucks or the Nets. So yes, the New York Knicks should definitely not target DeMar DeRozan in this 2020 NBA offseason. I know it sounds good, DeRozan on the Knicks, a star player, but just not a great fit at all. So with that being said, now let's hop into player number 5. So the final player, so Carmelo just finished a remarkable season with the Portland Trail Blazers, proving that he still deserves to be in the NBA. And with Knicks president Leon Rose being Anthony's former agent, many people have speculated about a potential return to New York. But the main problem is that he's still an isolation type of player, and that just doesn't fit with the Knicks style of play and their young guys and the fit with RJ Barrett. But obviously this is without Chris Paul or any other all-star player being traded to the New York Knicks. The only way that Carmelo Anthony would be able to come back to New York is that the Knicks trade for an all-star player and he comes along to be that complimentary type of player. Then it makes sense. But if not that, I would not do it for the New York Knicks. I would avoid this. So which one of these 5 players, if you'd have to choose, which one of them would you select to be on the New York Knicks in the 2020-2021 NBA season? As I've said, they're all not good fits. But if I'd have to choose, I'd probably go with Carmelo Anthony for the simple fact that if the Knicks get Chris Paul, it's a different story. Now they're competing to the playoffs, and adding a player like Carmelo Anthony, an additional piece, would really help things out for the New York Knicks in terms of playoff hopes. So if you did enjoy this video, let me know what other videos you guys want to see in the comments down below. It was KNYT here, and I'm out. Peace.